This is valuable. They must have been in a hurry or they'd never have left it behind. Another clue. I must be going the right way. It looks like blood. This way.
How come you're wearing such fine armour? Is there a joust happening?
What happened at the crossroads?
What?
I'm a friend of his.
Who?
That fellow you brought here. I need to find him. I have to help him. I owe it to him, you see.
I don't know nothing and I haven't seen nothing. If you want to know something about it, just ask Boyar. I don't want nothing to do with it.
Who is this Boryar?
Boyar cracks the whip around here. You'll recognise him by his red cap.
Thank you.
God be with you.
God be with you. What can I do for you?
What do you know about the wagon that's been ambushed at the crossroads?
I haven't a clue what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes. Is that a problem?
Do you have any idea whose wagon it was?
I don't know. And I don't care.
Well, I'll tell you. I'm sure you've heard of the gang that burned down Neuhof
Possibly.
and poisoned the well in Merhoyed. They're the kind of men you don't want to get on the wrong side of.
I didn't get on the wrong side of them, though. Did I? The opposite. Actually, we helped them out. And I didn't even know who they were.
What happened?
Let's just get this straight. We didn't ambush anyone.
And what were you doing at the crossroads then?
We were just passing, and we saw the wagon. So we took the sacks.
Just the sacks? What about the trail of bloodstains leading to the camp?
I was just getting to that. We also found one wounded man. What am I saying, wounded? The fellow was hacked like a martyr in some holy picture. He begged us to hide him away.
So you have him here somewhere? Is he still alive?
The fellow has quite a will to live. I'll give him that.
Do you know who ambushed that wagon?
Not a clue. We came a long way after.
Did he tell you anything?
He wasn't exactly talkative. His lungs are full of holes, so talking's a problem.
Where is he?
We've locked him away in the shed. There.
I want to talk to him.
I don't know. He paid us. We're not to let anyone near him.
I don't mean to hurt him.
So be it. Here. Take the key.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Who are you?
Never mind that. I've come to help you.
Thank God. I thought I'd breathe my last here. Lucky for me, my guardian angel comes bursting through the door.
I'm no angel, so you'll have to answer a few questions before you get my help.
Ah, well, I knew it wouldn't be that easy.
Who is it you work for? Who did the wagon belong to?
To Menhart. He's some kind of merchant who hired me for protection. But that's all I know.
And where's this Menhart disappeared off to?
No idea. I blacked out after the attack. Only came to my senses once I got here. I don't even know where here is.
Who ambushed that wagon?
A knight. He's been following us for a while.
And where did he go?
I don't know. I got a beating, and then I passed out.
Do you know what you were carrying in that wagon?
I never asked Menhart that.
Can I see your wound?
Are you a quack?
Sort of. That's a deep wound to the flank and you're still losing blood. You need to staunch it.
Will you help me?
I can try. Tell me more about the night.
Where's the coin?
What? What coin?
I will not repeat the question.
I don't know about any coin, I swear.
Ah! Where are those sacks you took from the wagon?
Sacks! They're behind the shed.
That's him! That's got to be that knight!
Is that all? Did you take anything else?
Fuck! Stop! Stop right there!
Yeah.
Here! Scheiße! Verrecke! Ha!
Well?
Who is that devil? It seems I have finally met my match.
Your match? I think you meant... That doesn't change anything. Now I'll be asking you a couple of questions, and you're going to give me answers to them nicely. Starting with who you are.
You may call me Ulrich. I will tell you nothing more until you give me some assurances.
Assurances? How about this? If you talk, I'll spare you.
Do you expect me to believe that? I know full well how these stories end. I have been at the other end of the sword more times than you can count.
I give you my word.
The word of a thief? Jesus. It is true what the preachers say. This world has gone quite mad. You had better kill me. I'm finished, anyway. Just as you are.
Unlike you, I'm not a criminal.
You believe that the forging of money is an honest trade.
I've got nothing to do with that. I'm not a forger, I'm the one investigating them.
What? What are you saying?
I'm in the service of Sir Radzig Kobyla, Governor of Skalitz and Royal Hetman.
Then we have something in common. I also am here under orders from above.
From who?
Perhaps you might sheath that weapon, so that we may talk eye to eye, if we do indeed have a common cause.
Stand up.
It is true our meeting has not begun well, but if it is the truth that you are sent by Kobyla, then we can assist each other.
What do you mean?
I found out many things, but there are still questions I cannot answer. And the last man who knew anything is now dead.
What man was that?
Meinhard, the merchant from Passau. Listen, I will explain everything to you, but first, I need you to do something for me.
Oh, really?
You will introduce me to a certain person, and I will tell you everything I've learned.
Who do you mean?
Master Tobias Pfeiffer. If you truly serve Sir Radzig, then you must know him.
Of course I know him. What do you want him for?
I have here a written confession which tells how those forgeries are made, but I do not understand such technical matters. Master Pfeiffer, however...
We'll definitely be able to make sense of it. And you'll give it to me, just like that.
It seems I have little choice. This is the last lead I have. In the meantime, I will return to Sassau and see what I might learn there.
Shouldn't you go with me to see Pfeiffer?
No. I must remain in Sassau. I have some loose ends that must be tied.
What's your name, anyway?
I told you. I am Ulrich.
Just Ulrich?
It is enough.
Because you look like a knight. They seldom have just one name.
It is true. I have a horse, armor, a sword, and a shield. But there are many ways to acquire such things these days. As I am sure you know.
So you're not a knight?
I am a trustworthy soldier in the service of a nobleman. That is all you need to know.
All right then, Ulrich. Let's leave it at that. Tell me what you know about the false coins.
Do you know Passau?
It's a German city, right?
Correct. A city of great wealth, where there are many merchants. Passau is a city of trade. All the currencies in Christendom change hands there.
I see. And that would include Prague groschen?
Some months ago, counterfeit groschen were discovered to be circulating there. They are made from copper plated with silver. The Passau alderman began to investigate and learned that a family of money changers was involved. They were bringing the forged coins in from Bohemia and sending back real ones. My liege lord is allied to the Passau alderman, so they requested that he deal with the matter.
And so he sent you?
Yes. He needed a man that he could trust absolutely.
And what about that wagon? What happened there exactly?
I followed Meinhard from Passau. I had reason to suspect a connection with Sassau.
So they were transporting false groschen on that wagon?
Yes. On their way here, they brought real coin. Groschen, forints, francs, and the like. But now, the sacks were full of counterfeits.
What do you mean about the connection with Sassau?
The matter was investigated in Passau, and the executioner extracted information from those who were arrested. They told him that the coins were made in a monastery.
What, in the monastery itself?
I cannot say. I know only what the Passau scribe wrote down in his reports of the interrogations.
Why did you let them get here before attacking?
I wanted to discover where they hand over their coins, which I failed to do. Besides, Meinhard had an armed escort, and they kept 2 busy roads and lodged at inns throughout their journey. Until he came to this god-forsaken trek. I cannot guess why he came here, but it was the perfect opportunity to strike.
What happened on that track?
I ambushed them. I took down 2, but that bastard man had cut the horses loose and rode away.
What next?
While I was chasing Manhard, those charcoal burners came and stole what they could. Before I could catch him, his horse threw him and he broke his neck.
So we won't get anything out of him.
Unfortunately not.
What happened to Menhart?
He's dead, of course.
I know, but what did you do with his body?
I buried it. He was a bastard. But I'm not one to leave Christian remains rotting in the woods.
I see. And where's his grave?
He ran from the wagon uphill along the path to the north. Along the way there is an old ruined cabin. I buried him behind it. And don't think I don't know why you ask. Robbing graves is shameful.
I'd say that's the pot calling the kettle black.
You're mistaken. I've many deaths on my conscience. But robbing the dead, that's something I have no stomach for.
Very well. I'll go and see Master Fayfar.
Godspeed. I will wait in Sasau at the Wagoner's Inn.
Hey.
Why me? Leave me be. What am I to do?
Do you know there's a girl crying on your doorstep?
I executed her husband.
What? You killed him?
No, not like that. It was done lawfully. She knew he had it coming.
So then, why...
Folk would like to drive her out of town. She has no one here. For a while I thought I could take care of her, but it wasn't to be.
Why?
Do you really have to ask? I can't even go to the tavern for company, and no one would sup their ale with me. And when I die, they'll probably push me into a hole with a stick so as not to touch my corpse.
Is it really that bad?
I'm not complaining, mind. It's a well-paid job, if you don't mind being a pariah. They might look sideways at you, too, just for talking to me.
And that's what she's afraid of?
Exactly.
Doesn't that crying girl have any kin?
None she knows of. Poor lass. You could help her, though, if you wanted.
Me? How?
Elishka has no family, but her husband might still have some kin. Nobody will talk to me, but you could find out more.
Why do you want to find her family anyway? Don't you want her to stay here?
I do. She's a splendid woman, but I'd never want to keep her here against her will. The life I lead isn't for everyone.
What would she have to put up with if she stayed with you?
A lot. I can't deny. Most of the townfolk wouldn't give her the time of day, at least not in public. If we had children, it would be even worse for them.
That doesn't sound like a very happy life.
It's not all bad. It's a well-paid job and even respected in a way. And when someone needs a bone set, all of a sudden they forget your reputation.
How can I find out if there's any family?
Try asking Elishka herself. She knows a thing or two about them. But, in the end, you'll still have to go and find out something from the bailiff, or from the records at the rat house.
All right. I'll see what I can do.
My thanks, if only for the thought.
Herman sent me.
What a way to end up.
Don't despair. It could be a lot worse.
Only death could be worse, and I'm not far from it.
Can I ask about your family?
What do you want to know?
Don't you have any kin left? Someone who'd take you in?
No. They all died of the plague. And then I ended up with that man of mine. I always knew he'd get strung up one day.
Didn't your husband have any kin?
Maybe. He mentioned some, but we never went to see them.
Is that all you know?
Yes. But if they're anything like my old man, the bailiff and his catchpolls will know about them.
That's all I need.
Just the very fact that I'm talking to you.
God save you, good knight. What can I do for you?
Do you know Elishka? The wife of the man who was hanged recently?
The one that's with the executioner now?
That's her.
Life can be cruel sometimes.
Right. And do you know if she has kinfolk somewhere around?
How should I know? Now, if you don't mind, I'm very busy.
Bailiff, surely you know me well enough to know I solve more problems than I cause.
You're right, I've heard some reports. Talk to the scribe.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
I'm glad to see you.
The bailiff sent me.
That's another matter, then. What do you need, friend?
Is it possible to find out from the records where someone lives?
You think we keep records of every serf? For Christ's sake, they breed like rabbits.
But I thought that in the rat house, though, in the books...
Boy, the books are for recording pacts, undertakings, punishments, property rights, and so forth. In other words, important things. We don't keep records of serfs.
Elishka won't be happy about that.
Elishka? You don't mean the one who married into the Mishek family?
Yes. Yes, you know her.
Why wouldn't I? I used to play dice with old Mishek years ago. He had a son, a nice, polite lad. How is he?
Oh, he's quite tied up these days.
Well, if you see him, tell him to swing by.
And where are the Misheks living now?
A stone's throw from Rate by the small fish pond.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Good day, what do you want?
I've got information about your daughter-in-law.
Elishka's fine, only she needs...
Never heard of her. Get lost.
She's your nearest kin. Elishka's part of your family, and she really needs you.
I won't help anyone.
Listen, you old hag. If you interrupt me one more time...
Fuck off!
I could make it worth your while.
Really? And what is it you want?
Your son's widow needs help. She has nowhere to go.
What do I care about some useless girl?
She could help you with the farm. She definitely knows how to take care of things.
A bit of help would come in handy. Send her here, then. But don't let her think she'll be taking it easy. She'll have her work cut out.
That sounds quite...
And if I hear a peep out of her, I'll take a stick to her back.
A fine salvation this is.
Get lost, or I'll give you up for.
Ilishka's looking better.
She is, but she's not happy. God sent the poor girl great trials.
Indeed.
Did you know her whole family was wiped out by the plague? She was barely 12.
Losing your family isn't easy.
Ah, sorry, I wasn't thinking. So, did you find out anything about that kin of hers?
I have. I tracked them down. They say they'd take her in, but I'm not sure she'd do well there.
Leave that to her. I just hope she'll be better off than now.
My humble greetings. How may I help you?
You're not crying now?
I'm not. I've wept enough for a lifetime.
It's a bit of a change since my last visit.
I haven't had much luck in my life, but I've always worked things out in the end. Tears are no help to anything.
That's true.
So, did you find out something about them?
I did. I found your husband's father and mother, and they're willing to take you in.
But...
They're not very nice people, Ilishka. They'd probably work you to the bone. But you would get fed.
Life is never easy. But at least I'd have a family.
You're right. I'll have another talk with Herman.
Take care.
I've heard the way you talk about her, and, would you like Ilishka to stay?
You know, Hal, she was always the sweetest girl. When she came with her family to Ratai, still single, she was a sight to behold. And it might surprise you, but she even had a word or two for me now and again. It grieved me when she married that wastrel. It was a foolish idea, but I always thought maybe she and I could... Well, fate likes a good laugh. Now I've strung up her old man. I have her under my roof. After all the years I was thinking of her. I don't want her to leave, but I don't want her to be unhappy here either.
Have you made your mind up?
I can't decide. I don't know Mishik's kin at all. But at least I'd have a family.
Herman could give you a family, too.
He's a decent, upright fellow. I've met none better, and that's the honest truth. But he's an executioner.
And what's the problem? That the other women won't chat with you down at the creek? Did that sort of gossip ever interest you anyway? He's a fine man, isn't he? He's willing to take care of you, and he has the means to do it. And he wants you. He's so sick with love for you, he can't even sleep.
But did he really say that?
He told me he's been in love with you for years. He said he always thought you were the sweetest girl in Ratai.
That's true. We used to meet now and again and exchange a few words. Well, he always treated me nicely. By all that's holy, you're right. I'll stay here. Good luck, then. Herman?
Yes?
Could I Can I stay here with you?
You mean for good?
If you don't want me to.
You can! By God, you can! You've made me the happiest man in the world. Thank you, Hal. Thank you.
Think nothing of it. The main thing is everything worked out well.
It did, thank you. And I want you to have this. God almighty, I've got Alishka. After all these years, me, the executioner, has the woman he loves.
Thank you, Henry. I've a feeling with Herman I can finally find some happiness.
You will. The two of you are made for each other.
The Lord be praised. What brings you to me?
Master Fayfire, I need to speak with you. I found out something about the counterfeit coin.
Did you really? Do tell.
Close to Rovna, I came across a wagon that was transporting the false coins. Unfortunately, I came too late. The carter and his men were dead.
Damn and blast. Do you know who did it?
Yes. A certain knight turned up there. It turned out he was also after the forgers.
Well, that is indeed unexpected. Tell me, what did he say?
His name is Ulrich. He looked like a knight, but he refused to show his master's colours.
Ulrich, you say? Could be anyone. Can you describe him?
An older man with a moustache. But for all his grey hairs, he seemed pretty tough to me.
Doesn't match anyone I've heard of. But then we don't even know if Ulrich is his real name.
He told me that the fake money was being taken to Passau in exchange for gold coins. Then that real money was being brought back to the Bohemian lands.
That would explain why those fakes bear the Passau countermark.
His master's allied with the Passau alderman, and they told him to sort it all out.
I wonder who could be behind it all.
He gave me these documents to show you. He seemed to think they prove he was telling the truth. They're the records of the interrogations in Passau, and some other things he said you'd understand better than him.
Let me see. We, the aldermen of the city of Passau. Interrogation held this day. Put to pen by the questor. The place of origin is a monastery in the land of Bohemia. Which certainly confirms my suspicion that something underhand is going on in Sasso. Coin assay report. Copper core coated with amalgam. But this is interesting. Here's an outline description of how the forgeries are made. I'll have to study it more closely. We command Herr Ulrich to investigate and let no man stand in his way. This looks like the original safe conduct. It has the seal of the Passau alderman, but they certainly didn't pen this.
How do you know?
I recognize the hand. It's a Clement of Kaplitz, the high scribe of the Rosenbergs.
The Rosenbergs? Who's that?
A rich and powerful family in South Bohemia. Burgrave Henry III is a great rival of our King Wenceslas.
So what does all this mean?
Well, it certainly explains why your knight is so mysterious. Anyway, we should be careful. And we shall begin our investigation. The documents show they use silver amalgam for coating copper fakes. That's a lead we can follow.
What?
Silver amalgam. It's produced from quicksilver and silver.
Well, that doesn't sound like something just anyone can get hold of.
You're quite right. You will go to Sasso at once. Look around the forges in the city. Someone must be working copper for them. I, meanwhile, will take counsel with Sir Radzik and then follow after you.
Where shall we meet?
At the inn on Sasso Market Square. Good luck, then.
What do you need?
What can you tell me about the Sasau blacksmiths?
There's too many of us, I'll tell you that for free. This is only a small town. There's Zach, who has the forge in the craftsman's yard and mostly works on the construction of the church. And then, apart from me, there's Master Armourer Otter of Ramstein.
Tell me more about Zach.
Don't have much time for him myself. He knows his craft, no question. But he seems to think his son, Vitus, will be a master armourer in Prague one day.
My father was a blacksmith, and I expect he thought much the same about me. That's how fathers are, isn't it?
Of course, any man should be proud of his boy. But Zach makes pride a sin. That's why he's at loggerheads with Master Otter.
Can you tell me something about Master Otter?
Well now, there's a master to look up to. He's worked for the lords of Kunstadt and for the richest townsfolk of Prague.
If you don't mind my asking, what brings him here?
The same as draws all reasonable people. He's enjoying the peace and quiet. Or rather, he used to enjoy some peace. That dispute with Zach must have put a few more wrinkles on his brow.
What are Zach and Master Otter arguing about?
Zach had his boy Vitus trained as an armourer in Kuttenberg, and he wanted to buy out Otter's place for him. Except that Otter's a proud man. How would it have looked? A master armourer giving way to a young whippersnapper who's barely let go of his mother's skirts? And they've been arguing ever since. Well, Zach mostly. He badmouths Otter every chance he gets. He claims that he's only fit for mending pots, and that his son will see him off.
That will be all. Thank you. Do you ever work with copper here?
No, and even if I wanted to, I couldn't. Zach from the monastery craftsman's yard has bought out all the copper. God be with you.
I hope I can be of some humble service to you.
What can you tell me about the Sasau blacksmiths?
Well, there's Mikesh, and then there's Master Otter. He used to have talent, but now he's too old, and too proud to admit it.
Do you work any copper here, Master Blacksmith?
Why'd you ask?
I'm looking into a few things here.
Looking into things? Meaning what?
I'm on the trail of a gang of counterfeiters.
Well, that's a serious business, but to answer your question, no. I don't work copper here.
That's not what I heard.
What?
I was told in town that you bought all the other blacksmiths' copper.
By Mickelson the Master Armourer, am I right? They're forever trying to smear my good name. That's why they said it, to make me look suspicious.
But they don't know I'm investigating anything.
Then they're making things up just for spite. Anything else? I still have work to do.
So back to that copper, Master Blacksmith.
What? I thought I told you I don't work with copper.
Aha.
May the Lord watch over you.
I'm glad to see you.
Your father says you don't work any copper. We don't. I've heard differently around town. They say your father's bought up all the copper to be had.
Are you calling me a liar? Or my father? You're asking for it, boy.
You're right. It's nothing to me either way.
Right. So clear off.
I mean, beside the fact I'm here on behalf of the Royal Burgrave Saradze Kobala, investigating a grievous crime against the Crown.
What? What are you talking about?
I'd let you read my Bill of Authority, but I doubt you're educated enough to understand it.
I'm so sorry. I didn't realise. If I'd known, of course I wouldn't. I mean, you understand, don't you?
Stop prattling, for God's sake, and start telling me the truth. What's the story with the copper at your forge?
You're right. We do make copper sheets here at night.
So why all the secrecy about it?
Father forbade me to talk about it. I don't know why. I didn't ask.
Who buys those sheets from you?
I don't know. I've never set eyes on him. Father doesn't like to talk about it.
Your father has some serious explaining to do.
I'm so sorry. If I'd known who you were, I'd never have taken such liberties.
Never mind. You weren't to know who I am. You were just protecting your father's business interests like any good son.
Thank you. God be with you.
So back to that copper, Master Blacksmith.
What? I thought I told you I don't work with copper.
Your son put it quite differently.
What's that? What are you blabbering on about?
Don't be angry with him. I didn't give him any choice.
All right. I suppose there's no point lying. We do make copy sheets here, and I wanted to keep it quiet.
Why?
Pays me good money, and the people I do it for. I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of them.
Did they threaten you?
They didn't have to. Just by the look of them, I could say I needed to shut my mouth and do what they wanted.
And did they ever tell you who they were? Do you know where to find them?
I know a little. I'd show some understanding. There's nothing but trouble in it for me. I'll lose the work and be left looking over my shoulder for some thugs to come and burn down my house. Or worse.
If you lie down with dogs, you shouldn't complain about the fleas.
There's no need for threats. We can both benefit here. If I tell you everything I know, you can help me with a certain small matter. One that'll cover up for my loss of earnings.
You've got a cheek. Not only are you in with the counterfeiter gang, but you lied to me on top of it. You should be on your knees begging for mercy right now. I'm not trying to make a profit.
I didn't know what they were doing.
But now you do know, and you've still got the cheek to try to strike a deal with me. So Rad's definitely going to be hearing about this.
You're right. I'm sorry, I overstepped the mark. I certainly didn't mean to offend one of Lord Radzig's men. One evening I got a visit from this scruffy beggar calling himself Rapota. He had a yellow cape on and kept whistling to himself. There was a knight with him too, but he didn't give his name. They told me what I had to do, how much I'd get for it, and I had to keep my mouth shut.
And where can I find this Rapota? Or the knight?
I don't know exactly. But I've always left the wagon with the goods behind the monastery, on the hill there, next to a small chapel under a big tree.
Anything else?
No. I swear that's all I know.
Well, that'll do me for now.
Young man, about that matter I need help with. I'll gladly pay you.
First, tell me what's going on.
I recently tried to buy Master Armourer Otto Rabstein's business for my son Vitus, but that old fool wouldn't listen to reason. He said he couldn't understand his legacy being taken over by a clod like my Vitus. Despite the insult, I doubled my offer, but Master Otto still wouldn't budge.
And what is it you need from me?
I thought I'd show Otto that Vitus isn't such a dolt as he thinks, but for that I need someone experienced in combat.
Well, that doesn't sound so bad. What's your plan?
Otto's busy making a very pretty suit of armor for the bailiff. So I was thinking, if we could show that pretty armor of his is absolutely useless, he'd be disgraced.
And how am I supposed to see to that?
Well, I'd reckon we'd arrange a duel of champions with bludgeons. You'll put on Vitus's armor, and Otto will send his champion in that tin shit of his. You invite the bailiff to watch, and Otto will be made a laughingstock in front of everyone.
And what do I get out of it?
Vitus will let you have the cuirass from his suit of armor, and I'll throw in a few groschen on top.
Sounds good.
And I'm sure a fella like you will be glad to be on good terms with the best armorer for miles around, eh?
That remains to be seen. Do you really think that will work?
Otto's always mouthing off in the alehouse that my young lad isn't worth a damn. Once I show he's just a bitter old bastard spouting hot air, his business will be ruined, and Vitus will reap the reward. What with all the strife in the country these days, there'll be no end of work for a good armourer.
But what if I lose?
Nonsense. How could you? Vitus's armour is light as an eggshell and hard as a rock.
How about if the armour for the bailiff mysteriously went missing?
Jesus Christ. Don't even talk about it. Although, If Otto doesn't agree to the duel, it might be the only option.
Exactly. And if you want to wreck Otto's reputation, not keeping his promise to the bailiff could be even worse for him than your idea.
You're right. Do whatever you think fit then. But if the armor gets lost, don't come to me afterwards. I know nothing about it, right?
Of course. I'd like to make you an offer. Have you heard about Pribyslavitz?
Don't bother me now, young fella. I've got that sneaky fucker Otto to deal with. Good luck then.
Greetings, good knight. How may I serve you?
Master Armourer, I have a message for you from blacksmith Zach.
If it's another one of his so-called generous offers, you can go straight back and tell him I'm not selling, and that's that.
No, this is another matter. Vitus wants to challenge you to a duel.
What? Me fight with that brat? Zach must have lost his mind entirely.
That's not how it will be. The real duel will be between your pieces of handiwork.
How's that?
It will be a duel with bludgeons. No bloodshed. At most, a few bruises and some dents in the armor. Zach chose me to wear Vitus armor.
And so I'm to choose a champion of my own? That sounds reasonable.
Good. So let's agree on the time and place.
Hold your horses, young fella. I've got a counter offer for you. Now, I'm sure Zach is paying you well.
I won't deny it.
I could pay you more, and I'd tailor-make a cuirass just for you. What do you say?
You mean if I fight as your champion instead? I'm not sure how Zach would take it.
No, you fight on Zach's side and lose.
All right, I'll do it.
Wonderful. Zach won't know what hit him.
So, choose the time and place.
What, me?
You're the one being challenged, so it's your right.
Well, it's all the same to me. Go and sort it out with the bailiff. He should know about it anyway, so I don't look like a troublemaker.
All right?
Good luck, then.